football. No. I'm just trolling all of you. We're not going to sit here and talk a bunch about Bears football. As in my previous video where I was taking a preview of the Cardinals and Bears Week 13 matchup. I am here to give you my weekly picks. Isn't that exciting? It's exciting, all right? No, it's not. Who gives a shit, really? But I am here, yes, and after a couple of weeks of kind of being in the dumps a little bit and having a bit of a lull, which happens, trying to right the ship, kind of course correct, do a little bit better. Week 12 brought some more positive results. Again, nothing to brag about, nothing to sit there and thump my chest about, but at least I did better. I was 8-7 picking the winners straight up, 9-6 against the spread, so it was a solid performance. Not spectacular, but solid. And at this point in time, I'll take it because I had a couple of weeks stretch there. That was pretty goddamn ugly. But week 12 held up a little bit differently, a little bit better, and I'm hoping that week 13 is going to do the same. It's already off to a good start for me because I said Dallas minus a 6.5 for the Thursday night matchup, and with all the injuries that the Saints had, that's the way it played out. Although you wouldn't exactly say the Cowboys looked fantastic in that matchup. I don't give a shit. They covered the 6.5 point spread. That's what matters the most. So starting off 1-0 for the week and hoping that momentum is going to carry over into the weekend. So let's take a look at my picks for Week 13 of the 2021 NFL season. We start off with the early Sunday matchup. You've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. No surprise that Tampa are big favorites here. The spread's 11 right now as of the time of I'm recording this. And I don't necessarily have any doubts that Tampa would win this game. The only thing that gives me pause is this is in Atlanta. It's a divisional matchup. And 11 is a really damn big spread in that spot. Atlanta's not good, I'll grant you that. But 11 points in a divisional matchup like this, that is a lot to be given. So I like Tampa to win this, but I do like Atlanta to cover the 11-point spread. You got Arizona traveling to Chicago to take on the Bears. There, you get to talk about some Bears football for the Cardinals, hoping that they'll have Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins back in the lineup this week, or at least one of them, if not both of them. Meanwhile, for the Bears, injuries are starting to run rapshot a little bit. And, of course, Justin Fields is going to miss his second consecutive start due to the rib injury. Won't even be active, which means we get another fucking 3 hours of mediocre Bears football. The Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, oh, God. Arizona minus 7.5. Keep it moving. Got the Chargers traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Hard to know what to make of this one. The Chargers did not look very good against the Broncos last week. Meanwhile, the Bengals looked outstanding, like in a whole nother class against the Steelers on Sunday. So no surprise that the Bengals come in here as 3-point favorites. Although I'm slightly surprised that it's only 3, because 3 basically gives them the advantage for home field, and that's about it. You can make an argument that they might be a little bit better right now, certainly when you go off of last week's performances, because there's nothing logically that I can point to here. You got an exciting matchup of 2 quarterbacks from that 2020 draft class, Burrow versus Herbert. That is exciting and fun to think about. I like the Chargers plus the 3 to win here. Minnesota travels to Detroit to take on the Lions, and the Detroit Lions again finding ways to snatch defeat or non-victory from the jaws of wins or victory itself. Thanksgiving, that had to be painful. Well, it was painful for America to watch that, and frankly, America deserves that. We deserve that type of Thanksgiving misery and indigestion. We really did. But what you know is that the Lions are competitive. They're close, and while it was rough to watch Dan Campbell in action, because good God, that was terrible, you look at this game and you say, okay, Minnesota, maybe they come into this game with a little momentum, but they just lost to the 49ers on Sunday. They're 7.5-point favorites, and the Lions have been doing a good job the past couple of weeks at covering the spread. Tying the Steelers, only losing by 3 to the Browns, the 2-point loss to the Bears. I love the Lions to cover the 7.5-point spread here, honestly, especially at home, and I'm going to keep picking them to win in games where you could feasibly happen. Like, I'm going to pick Detroit to win. Like, that's my pick of the week. Detroit plus 7.5. They're going to beat the Vikings and get their first win of the season. And then they go out and lose by 30. The Giants travel to Miami to take on the Dolphins. It don't look now, but the Dolphins have certainly gathered some momentum and got a little bit of a winning stretch going here. Is Tua playing great? I think he's playing okay. Big thing is, like, actually keep him in the lineup, keep him healthy. Might be too little, too late for this season for the Dolphins, but they have pulled it together. Meanwhile, it looks like the Giants will be without Danny Dimes, which you wonder, is that a positive or negative development? You don't really know. Probably more of a positive development, frankly. I like the Dolphins minus the 6 in this one. You've got the Eagles traveling to New York to take on the Jets. The Eagles are 7-point favorites here. I like the Eagles to win, and I like the Jets to cover the 7-point spread. You've got the Colts traveling to Houston to take on the Texans. The Colts are 10-point favorites. Now, for all intents and purposes, the Colts should absolutely beat the brakes off of the Texans here in short order in a big way. But these are also the matchups that kind of concern you because, again, it's a very big number for divisional games. This is the type of Colts team that could play a great team really closely like the Bucs and then come back and also play a team like the Texans really closely here. That said, I'll give the Colts a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Jonathan Taylor's starting to put himself legitimately into the MVP conversation, and he should be there. I'll take the Colts minus the 10, maybe against my better judgment. The late Sunday afternoon matchups, you've got the Washington football team traveling to Vegas to take on the Raiders. I like the Raiders minus the 1. You've got the Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. The Rams are big 13-point favorites, and maybe they shouldn't be based off of their performance the past few weeks, but this is probably a get-right game for them, so I'll take the Rams minus the 13. One of the real grudge match rivalries that we have in the league still is Baltimore traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Baltimore is 4.5-point favorites. I look at this matchup and say, man, the Steelers looked god-awful last week. They looked terrible. The Bengals outclassed them and just kicked the fucking shit out of them. Meanwhile, for Baltimore, past couple of weeks, they found a way to get wins, even though it hasn't been pretty. Entering what was perceived as the tough stretch of their schedule. I like them in this matchup, but I also maybe like Pittsburgh to cover that 4.5-point spread. You got San Francisco traveling to Seattle to take on the Seahawks, and I totally get it. The Seahawks are one of the worst teams in the league right now. Even Russell Wilson's looked like shit since his return. Meanwhile, the 49ers maybe have gotten on a little bit of a rhythm, starting to put together a couple of wins. In that case, though, I like Seattle plus the 3.5. Like, how much faith are you going to show in a Jimmy Garbage Pail-led team? I mean, seriously, come on. So, some crazy stuff will always happen, especially in the San Francisco-Seattle matchups. Like, the fact that either team would get more than 3 points is astounding to me. So, I think you got to pound the Seattle plus the 3.5, especially at home. The Sunday night matchup, you've got the Broncos traveling to KC to take on the Chiefs. This is a chance for the Chiefs again in primetime to make a bit of a statement of what's perceived against a pretty solid Broncos defense, coming off a pretty good performance, frankly, against the Chargers last week. I do like the Chiefs in this one. Maybe they're starting to figure it out a little bit. Give me the Chiefs minus the 9.5. And then Monday night, a real marquee matchup here. You got fucking Mac Jones and Bill Belichick and the Patriots traveling to Buffalo to take on Josh Allen, Sean McDermott, and the Bills. This could be a really good one. And the Bills are not exactly hitting on all cylinders. The Patriots are surging right now. They've got a ton of momentum. They're playing great football. Mac Jones is taking care of the football, making nice throws at times. Other times taking just what the defense gives them. Exactly what I envisioned he would do coming out of Alabama, frankly. And that's a big spot for the Patriots. Like, if they want to change the narrative a little bit and say, hey, we're not just a surprise team. We're a legit team and a contender here with this kind of configuration. Here's a spot that they can do it. Meanwhile, for the Bills, this is a spot that they absolutely need to pounce. And they need to get this victory, and they need to make a statement here. As they've been kind of scuffling back and forth between looking really good one week and then the next week they play like doo-doo. I think this is a chance for the Bills to send a bit of a message, send a bit of a statement, and they're going to do that on Monday night. So give me the Bills minus the 2.5. So those are my picks for Week 13. As always, you're welcome to go against me and inevitably do better than me.